A tribute to our honoured guestman, Mr. Robert Menzies, Attorney General, whose humanitarian concern for the Chinese people has caused him to realise that the Chinese suffer a shortage of iron in their diet, and who is seeking to remedy this by shipping our iron to Japan, from where it would be speedily delivered to the Chinese via bullets and bombs.
On November 15th, 1938, less than 200 men at the Port Kembla wharves south of Sydney refused to load scrap iron on one ship, the Dalfram. They protested that the pig iron would soon return as bullets to be fired against Australia. They also believed that our pig iron was already being used by Japanese forces in a hostile takeover of Manchuria in China. This chapter in Australian history will be remembered forever by a nickname.
Menzies' political career was at stake here. This dispute gave Menzies the opportunity to demonstrate his decisiveness. The problem for Menzies is that the dispute didn't work out as he wished. Here you had a dispute that was not over wages and conditions. It was mere waterside workers determining Australian foreign policy. And this infuriated, if you want, the boss class.
Australia's first Governor-General, Isaac Isaacs, supported the strike. Organisations from all over Australia sent in funds and everyone had an opinion.
Anyone that works as a scab at Port Kembla is lower than shark shit.
But not all opinions were tolerated. A radio reporter who commented that the government was using heavy-handedness in the dispute was cut off air by the police. The leading seaman on the Dalfram declared that he and his crew would not sail the Dalfram until the Port Kembla men resolved the issue. He was arrested by police and taken to a mental institution. Some crew members never returned to the ship.
My father had brought home a crew member away from the police and secreted him in our house at Malambie and kept him there with every indication to me at 9 years of age to not to say anything to anybody.
Pressure by Japan to load the Dalfram with pig iron was mounting, and significant economic interests were at stake. In an act of desperation, Menzies implemented the Transport Workers Act to the Port Kembla wharf. Men would be forced to obtain licences to work.
The Dog Collar Act was used to curtail militant activity of the wharfies.
For the first time, the Transport Workers Licence didn't break a union strike. Only one licence was taken out, and it was burnt in defiance of the Federal Union, the government and the legal system.
We are prepared to fight, just as we fought at Eureka. Very, very symbolic.
And they were sounding, if you want, a warning that Japan was on the march.
They were the conscience of this country.
Australia was recovering from the Depression. The Lyons government was trying to strike a balance between appeasing Japan in trading and using profits from sales of the pig iron to build Australia's own defence. On the 11th of January, Menzies as Attorney General went to Wollongong to resolve the dispute once and for all.
Maybe he just thought it was just 200 communists, or 200 men led by communists in a little tiny town that was inconsequential, and I'll go down there and I'll sort them out. I think he was genuinely surprised that this community could generate such a huge international dispute.
The hostile crowd overwhelmed the local police force escorting Menzies. Begrudgingly, the Communist Party led Menzies through the crowd, but there was no outcome, and the men remained out of work for 9 weeks with no pay. Never before or again would a Prime Minister endure a nickname that would remain for eternity.
I think it's part of the working class history of this country.
Dad used to say, "Pig Iron Bob." he sent bloody pig on to Japan and came back as bullets. He used to say it all the time. Everybody used to say it.
If Japan had invaded and occupied Australia, there would have been willing cooperators or collaborators. There would have been a puppet government, and that puppet government may have been headed by Robert Gordon Menzies.
In the spirit of Eureka comes Pig.